Hey everyone, welcome back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim,
And I'm Chris.
and we are here for our first video episode of the year. So we're doing something a little bit different. As you can see, we are on video. We don't have Black because Black was unable to make it, uh, work obligations and everything like that. It's all good. We understand that. And I'm here like looking at myself on this corner. I don't know why I'm looking at myself. I need to actually be looking right here. I should be looking here, but the camera, if I bring the camera down, it'll be in the way. And I used to have it that way, but I'm not gonna worry about that. We're not gonna, that's all the behind the scenes stuff. And I'm gonna leave this in actually because this is all nice. This is kind of funny. But anyway, uh today's episode is called Unboxed Memories, a Toying with Nostalgia special. And the reason why we decided to have this special, this is because Chris and I were talking, we were coming up with ideas for the show, whatever. And Chris had actually talked about old toys versus new toys, which at the end, we're going to kind of talk about our new stuff. As you can see, I'm surrounded by him. He's got some in front of him. We're going to talk about our new toys later on. However, uh, that brought us back to Toying with Nostalgia, which is an episode that Black and I did about 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons ago. And we're just like opening parts of our personality, our collections and things like that from our past. And we're going to talk about actual pieces of our collection that stuck with us and toys that stuck with us, things um, that we brought from childhood, you know? It's kind of like a little bit of a show and tell today. So that's going to be a little bit fun. So it's not anything about the value. Some of the things that are collected for value, some collectors, they do collect for value. Some collect for the love. Some collect for, like I said, when I said value, I mean like resale value. So some collect just to do that. And matter of fact, I just saw a video a couple of days ago where a lady had a whole attic full of Legos that she bought, and she's collecting for resale. I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Some of these Lego resellers too, they're crooks. It's jacked up. That set right there, the Batwing, as y'all can see, I was talking about it. The Batwing has been built, and that's it behind me. That set right there, it resells for so much. It can be up to like $600 to $700 for that set right there, and it was originally worth like I think $199 to two somewhere, two something. So yeah, resellers, man, they're crooks. They're really crooks. But anyway, so this show is really about the toys that became memories and uh why we still have them, why they still don't sit on our shelves, they still reside within us somewhere. So this is a little trip to our nostalgia and our lives of who we are. So starting off, Chris, how you doing? What's going on, man?
I'm doing good, man. It's just trying to get through this week, get to the weekend, and veg out.
Yeah, right. For sure, for sure. You know, and I know you're definitely looking forward to it. You got celebrating, you got that celebration coming up. We won't go into details and stuff, but you do have a celebration coming up, so I know you're looking forward to that. Word, that's what's
Any
up.
excuse to hang out with the wife and get a little.
Word, yes, yes. Food and drinks and family. That's what it's all about, right? Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying to think about my weekend too, what I'm gonna do. So good to have an extended weekend. I'm really happy about that. And I'm trying to get some gaming in. Um, I'm probably gonna try and get on GTA. I want to see if Pug, what's up, Pug? I always say what's up to you. If Pug can get on BG3, he hasn't been on it lately a lot, and I don't think he's really been wanting to be on his Xbox because he's got a computer now, which is kind of the same for me, which is funny. Uh, Maybe if my Xbox was up here and I can actually hook it up and get the capture card going and all that, maybe I would be on my Xbox a little bit more. Because I tried to do streaming with TikTok, and I tried to stream GTA on TikTok, but the GTA is with the cloud, so it's cloud gaming on GTA. So because of that, um, I wasn't able to actually play very well. So that sucked. Because I was streaming TikTok and the cloud gaming at the same time, and I couldn't do that kind of stream. So, and ladies and gentlemen, if y'all hear something going back and forth, I don't know if y'all can see at the corner because it's cut off on our screen right now, but I don't know if y'all can see right here. My dog is going crazy. Like he keeps going back and forth because he wants me to cover with the blanket. I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm busy. So he just keeps going back and forth. He keeps groaning and stuff like that. That's what happens when you have a dog who's very old and he's set in his ways, you know? So I put the blanket on him once. He didn't like the way I did it. He wants me to do it again. I'm sorry. I'm busy. Sorry, Bear. And he's like sitting there groaning. He's pouting right now, the doggy pout. But anyway, so going back to our topic of the day, uh, unboxed memories, right? Chris, when you originally thought about this, right? What came up in your mind? Like what brought that idea out to you about the nostalgic toys that you had when you were younger?
Mainly because recently I was picking up a newer version of like one of the figures that I've had, and basically was looking at the newer version and was thinking about like the differences in how technology and how so much more photorealistic the characters look now, and and although the figures were, there's a lot of them were pretty impressive for what they were at the time, but I'm mainly talking about like I was looking at because I still have my vintage Boba Fett from 1979, matter of fact. Basically, I picked up the latest version that they had from the book of Boba Fett, from the Black series, Star Wars Black series, and even though the figures are much smaller, the details and the paint jobs on them just and I'm big off into pop art and things anyway. So and detail, especially like little neat nuances and details as far as like the figures go, is really one of the things that hooked me back then. So yeah, where they are today is just super impressive.
Right, right. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I can understand that because thinking back to it, the what's the name of it? I'm going slow because I'm trying to remember the name of it. Kenner Superpowers. That's the one that McFarlane just did. Is that the name of it? Where he reissued? Is it Ken? So I know when I was coming up, I believe it was called it was Kevin Kenner Superpower.
Mhm.
But McFarlane ended up redoing it, and whatever he calls it now is basically it's the same toy line, and he's redoing it, and with the nostalgic feel of it, it's dope. I really love that. Matter of fact, that's the same toy line that I talked about where my most memorable Christmas when my mother bought all those toys and everything like that and the Hall of Justice and all that. That was the toy line that she bought.
Aren't
And
those the ones you could actually squeeze like the legs and like the fist would
correct.
like
Yes,
pump?
and it, like you
Yeah.
squeeze the legs and their arms go like this, or with Aquaman, it's the opposite way. You squeeze his arm and his legs go like this. um, and I think Red Tornado, you squeeze his legs and his body twists around. Because I think I had Red Tornado. Anyway, can't remember who had what. My brother and I, we had a bunch of them. We split it up the way we liked those figures. Somehow he got Batman and took Batman, and he had the Batmobile. I was mad about that, and I ended up with Superman. Which, what kid is mad that they get Superman? But anyway, I ended up with Superman and his Superman space pod. And even as a kid, I was wondering. I was like, why does Superman have a space pod? He's Superman. He could freaking fly. As I got old, I ended up realizing, oh, Superman is a space pod because he can't go too far out into space and different things like that. So anyway, yeah, yeah, you learn, you live and you learn. Those figures are really nostalgic for me, and honestly, I really wish I kept some of those figures because I love those figures. I truly love those figures. Thinking about those and thinking about the time that I had with them, that was such a good time because my brother and I could not wait to open it, and we opened it before Christmas, which is hilarious that we didn't get in trouble. I think to this day, I really think, every time I think about it more, my mom had to have known we opened those toys and were playing with it before Christmas. But she was just that kind of loving mother that was just like, "I don't care. I don't really care. I got too many other things to worry about. Them playing with their toys before Christmas is not a big deal." And I just know I don't remember how far before Christmas it was. I just remember it was. But that leads me into some of the other things that we got. We got GI Joes, we got Transformers, we got Brave Star. I got Brave Star. If you remember, do you remember that cartoon, Brave Star? Brave
Oh,
Star.
dude, they have got some really impressive new Brave Star figures.
I
Matter of
saw.
fact, some of them I don't even think that I don't think they're licensed, but
Mhm.
good lord, they're incredibly
Yeah,
yeah,
you sent me a link to at least one of them. I
yeah,
can't remember the other if it was more than one, but I know definitely it was the link to the new Brave Star. So,
yeah. I think instead
um,
of it being called Brave Star, I think it was called the Marshall or something like that, but yeah, it
um,
looked
yeah, yeah, but it was really cool having some of those things that I had, and to kind of put it lightly, we weren't under the like, we we could afford it, but we couldn't afford it because there was more important things that we needed to afford than those toys. But for my mom to have gotten us these toys and different things like that, it's just really special. And actually, some of these I actually have here with me, and I have one really special toy that I actually had to basically not beg for, but I had to actually coax it out of its lockdown and area. That's my me knocking into things too. I'm sorry about that, everybody. um, I had to do that. So that toy I'm going to show y'all at the end. But so let's go ahead and start off, Chris. Can you kind of you know, give me one toy that really means something to you that it actually you know, you've had it like even like through your whole military career, all of that. One toy from all that, from back from even like you survived your brothers and all that too.
oh yeah. This fella right here.
Boba
The
Fett.
yeah, the Kenner Larson 12-inch Boba Fett from,
Mm-hmm.
1979,
Yeah.
who I have had this figure has got to be, he's nearly 47 years old now.
Wow. So he's as old as I am.
And 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 he has been I'm surprised he's in as good condition as he's in,
Mm-hmm.
including, like, the little Wookiee scalps here, and he's, and matter of fact, and I've still got the cape and the other parts of him, but, I I was looking some recently because I was looking somewhere someone was doing, like, retro boxes,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about maybe ordering one of those to put him in, but I'm just amazed because as much as I played with this figure as a kid, that he's still in this good a condition is just amazing to me. But, yeah, he saw a lot of love coming up.
Yeah. So about that figure, you know, uh, how did you get it? Like, what was it given to you as a present, or did you buy it with your own money?
I don't remember how I got the mo it might have been either, yeah, some gift
I might
money or
ask your mom, but
something.
that's what I'm gonna do. Because Mom and Pat will tell it for real.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
definitely. Because but I don't think they remember 'cause matter of fact, I've talked to them about it recently,
Mhm,
and, yeah, but I remember they took me out to Montgomery Ward's out at the, what used to be the Coliseum Mall, and they had a stack of them on display, and it is, just that rush of excitement, and plus and it was like, matter of fact, because Boba Fett they had debuted the character in the Star Wars Christmas special back in December of 1978, and so it took about a year, which now that I think about it, yeah, it takes about a year probably after the production of or yeah, for them to actually create a lot of these figures nowadays. And, yeah, it took about from yeah, around about 1970 Christmas of 1979 was when they came out. Yeah, it was, like I said, just the excitement of going through there with with my parents and actually, spending money that I had on the figure. It was great.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. That's cool. That's yeah. And
Maybe that's
and
why I've had him because I put my money in it, spent my money on him, and yeah,
yeah.
because the figures that they bought, they're destroyed.
That's hilarious. So you still have some of those?
it's like I'm not well, I used to have, like, the large size Vader and the large size, Luke also that came out
Mhm.
with that line, but over the years, as a matter of fact, I didn't really destroy them as much as I probably left them laying on the floor somewhere, and my father threw them out because I was being messy.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
definitely gotta share this, with Mama Pat and Pop Pop because, for real, I wanna hear their side of the story, especially Pop Pop's. Like, "I didn't throw those out."
He didn't play nah, he probably threw those out. He didn't play when, like, yeah, to send a clear message, yeah, if you left that stuff laying around and he told us, to pick it up, yeah, it could be gone.
Yeah. I'm not gonna go into too many details, but I had a similar but I trust me, I think our dads was on 2 different sides of that spectrum anyway, so, but mine was similar, it's like would've been quick to throw the toys out even though he paid for it, so, but anyway, so that's cool. I like the fact too that you spent your money on it, so you cherish that thing, and it's crazy because I think a lot of the toys that I have left over, I spent my money on. Um, but a couple of other things I have, and here's the thing though. So I did cherish my toys all the way until I got older, and then I went in the military. They stayed home, and I don't remember where all my stuff. I think my mom basically left my room the way it was when I left. Um, Either way, I kept those things for a very, very long time. I kept pretty much like everything, stuffed animals and like all the different figures and stuff I had because I don't want to say I knew. I felt that they were going to be important to me. And over the years, pulling these things back out has been very important to me and nostalgic and remembering things, you know?
Even even as
Go
far as
ahead.
he goes, I don't think I really held on to him because of, because I paid for him. Honestly, I
Hmm.
just held on to him because he was cool. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he's the
think it
coolest
came out like a
one.
year before the movie came out, so I
Yeah.
had like all that time, to have my imagination going and creating my own stories with him. And then by the time the movie came out, he didn't have as quite as big of a role as I kind of thought he was going to have in it, and he really didn't have a big role in Jedi. But
Yeah.
yeah, in
But
recent years,
because
though,
he's
apparently he's
yeah.
had a resurgence.
Because of that one role in Jedi, he ended up becoming huge. That's insane how that one role in Jedi, no,
The Empire.
I don't wanna
Yeah,
say Jedi. It was
yeah,
Empire.
yeah. He had more to do with the
Empire.
Empire. Yeah, they kind
Yeah,
of
that's what yeah. I said Jedi, but I was thinking Empire. That's what it was.
yeah they did him a little
Because
dirty
of
in
that
Jedi.
one role in Empire and the little bit he did, that one scene, basically, it wasn't even the whole, no disintegrations. Nah, it wasn't even that. It was that one scene at the table and, where the betrayal scene, which, I mean, I can spoil that, but it doesn't matter. I'm saying it and most people would know what it is anyway. But that scene right there, even before he was talking to Vader about, he's no good to me dead and all that, no, that scene at the table, that's what made everyone fall in love with Boba Fett, and everybody wanted to know more about Boba Fett.
Well, for me, it was the scene with the yeah, when they were trying to when they were hiding and they were attached to the Star Destroyer, and
Mhm.
they released the junk, and he and
Flew out with
little
a jump.
Falcon, yeah, went off with just tried to float away in the junk, and only to realize that yeah, he was sitting in there waiting. He went out with the junk basically,
I
and
still don't understand how they got there before he did. How did Boba Fett get there before they did? I don't get it. I don't
eh,
understand.
a combination of Star Wars magic and because remember Vader and the Empire got there before they did, knowing where they were going, but they probably just I'm assuming story wise that they probably sent a garrison or something to. Well, then again, why would he go straightly to that one particular
That's what I'm
place? Yeah,
saying.
that's
That's
kind
what
of
I'm
odd.
saying.
Did we just
So,
discover a plot hole?
oh man, that plot hole's been there.
I'm sure.
But
I'm
anyway,
sure there's probably an in-universe
yeah.
explanation that we're probably missing or have forgotten over the years. But
Well,
yeah,
hey, anyone, if y'all can explain that how Boba Fett got there after if he followed them but he got there before them. If y'all can explain, I don't know. Maybe his ship Slave One, and I am one of those people that will continue to call it Slave One. I'm just, even though I understand the connotations and all that, I get it. Trust me, but
Yeah,
that's what I grew up calling it, and I will make the mistake, but I would just say, or we can actually say bounty hunter ship, whatever, Boba
it
Fett ship,
yeah,
but I
it's
get it,
Slave
I
One.
understand. But anyway, his ship, unless it was because it was so much smaller, and it wasn't that much smaller, but it was small enough, maybe
Yeah.
it flew through light speed faster.
Yeah, and Lando clearly said that Vader and the Imperials arrived before they did, so
Exactly. Now I can understand the Star Destroyers kind of getting there faster because maybe they had better tech, than I mean, and also too, the Millennium Falcon is kind of old and run down and beat up, and it's being held together with chewing gum. Um, but Boba Fett getting there, I don't know, but we'll see.
yeah.
Anyway,
Mm.
so it's funny that it's just called Unboxed Memories because all of my memories come in boxes. So I've got this box right here, these two boxes of stuff. The bottom one actually has vehicles in it, but this is primarily GI Joes, and it's so funny because this was these bins are from ICG.
Wow.
Yeah, see, you can't really see that because of light. There you go.
Nice. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
well.
it's not like they could use them anymore.
I know, right? And it's not like anybody from ICG's there. They're gonna listen to this other than you.
Really, though.
So, yeah. But these are my GI Joes that I decided to keep. I had way many more, but at some point you got to get rid of it. But it's not only has GI Joes in it. So you know how I'm talking about how my mother got us what she could. She saw something that we liked. If she could afford it, she'd get it for us. Different things here and there. I don't know if this was for Christmas or if it was for like a birthday or something, or it was just because she saw it, we liked it, whatever. Do you know what this is?
Is that a GoBot?
It
Or is that
is.
a
So you are 50% correct.
okay.
This is basically this is goes with the GoBots. And this is a power suit for the GoBots that you put your GoBot in this suit. It just opens in 3 places right there. You put your GoBot in
Now,
this suit. This one was my brother's, by the way. I believe because I think my brother had the black ones and I had the white ones. I think, but it wasn't the whole set. We never got the whole set because it came. You had to buy, I think, each part separately, or you bought 2 at a time. I can't remember for sure, but either way, you had these suits, um, and then you had to get a ship, and this was the GoBots version of Combiners. So you
okay.
know how there's Devastator and there's like Superion and Mensor and those kinds for the Transformers where the actual robot changes and you combine them together. The GoBots, you put the GoBots in these suits, and these suits ended up being where it had these little slots here, and you would slide the hand or the foot right on there, and then they had this one middle piece. And I'll probably put the picture somewhere around here, somewhere. I don't know where I'm gonna put it, but maybe I can point right here or right here, one of those 2 places. You'll see it anyway. Um, it had a spaceship that went with it. You combine them all together, put them into the spaceship, and it turned into a giant robot. And so seeing this, it's kind of cool because, like I said, my mother got it for us. Um, I don't think she understood that you had to buy the whole set, or if she did understand that you had to buy the whole set. Of course, she couldn't afford it, but she got us what she could. We played with this. We played with like the hell out of these things, man. And when we got older, we realized that we can actually just stick these in our GI Joes and make a little bit a GI Joe power suit.
Oh.
So,
Uh-huh.
because I think we only had like 1 or 2 GoBots ourselves anyway. And the GoBots that we had, I think, like I had a helicopter. It might be in here, may not be. I can't remember if I kept it or. But the GoBots could not. The GoBots that we had couldn't fit into these suits very well. and they were just, like, these suits were only really designed for certain GoBots, and like, they, like, I guess the more popular GoBots. That's kind of what they were designed for. Even though it adjusts so you can kind of put the GoBot in there, but they don't look very well in there. They didn't play very well in there. But we played with them, and this was so fun. And when my brother and I realized that we can actually put them in the suits, put our GI Joes in the suits, but you have to. I have a GI Joe here. Um, this is one of my new ones. I got to be careful because the GI Joes. So with the GI Joes, I ended up finding out over time. The GI Joes, the rubber band on the inside, they have newer ones, but the rubber O rings on the inside dry rot. So I got to be careful because most of my GI Joes are probably dry rot. But we found out that you can just actually take the GI Joes and just put them in here, put the power suit down, and basically they kind of got to kneel a little bit. I got to be careful with this, dude. This is actually too one of the final GI Joes that I ever bought. As I think I was like a preteen or I was just at a teenage years, but I bought this one and like maybe one or two other ones. There's one Stalker. I don't know if you remember the GI Joe Stalker, one of
Mhm.
the few black GI Joes.
Yeah.
I got him one of his last re imaginings. So the one with the thing, the boat. But anyway, there we go. So we put it in there, and it was a power suit for the GI Joes. Now, there's more to it than that. I mean, but I didn't want to. I don't want to try to finagle this much as like we used to. But you put the GI Joe in there, and it's just like I said, just a power suit that gives you more play. So my mother buying this for us, I don't think she realized, how special that would be for us because we got so much play out of this uh, by extending it to our GI Joes, and not being able to always get the newest toys all the time. That is something that we ended up having to do a lot. We took toys and combined them, which a lot of kids do that. You combine your toys, you combine and you figure out other ways so you can continue to play with your toys. Many kids do that. We did that a lot, a whole lot.
Yeah, being that I
Um,
started off with, like, the large G.I. Joe figures, because that was my era when they had when they were the 70s G.I. Joes where they were, 12 inches or so that's probably why, like, even back when Star Wars came out, I leaned more towards the large figures than I did the smaller figures, although I did have you know, my friends had, like, huge collections of the Star Wars figures and the G.I. Joe figures.
mhm.
And my parents could afford that, so I definitely appreciated the ones that they could get, and even then, it was like, but the larger figures, yeah, it was no big deal for me to combine Star Wars with GI Joe and go on little adventures with them.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. And that's the funniest part is that see, you could do that with the 12-inch figures. For us, we
Yeah, with the
had we
smaller figures, even with my friends who had smaller figures, yeah, we would, yeah, whatever figures were available, shoot, yeah, I've definitely seen a GI Joe figure sitting in the Death Star
Yeah,
set.
yeah. So, and that's pretty much kind of what we did. We had different things that we would combine people with. I have like these little things I'm going to show you in a little bit. I think they're called Skyriders. I have
Mhm.
to look it up and see. Again, when I say these things, I'll probably put the logo or I'll put the actual picture of these things up there with it. But I think they're called Skyriders. And these toys, they were much smaller than GI Joes, but I let them play with the GI Joes. Mask. Um, if
Yeah,
you remember Mask, some of those Mask toys were small figures, but we let them play with GI Joes.
my brothers
I've
had a few of
actually
those.
some of the vehicles, different things here or there. Um, those all have been combined. Because you want to get the most out of your play. I've actually turned cardboard boxes into bases and stuff, and adjusted those cardboard boxes based off of what toy I was actually playing with. And some of them I actually did it to where I would actually um, combine it to where both like size figures can actually play with those cardboard boxes. So
And being that I didn't really get into the GI Joe figures back in the day, but there was one that I was obsessed with when I saw it in a magazine back in, probably back in the early 90s, like, probably late early 90s, but it was a Storm Shadow figure in this camouflage.
uh-huh.
Then all of a sudden recently, I realized that they had pretty much reissued that figure and put him out, and I just had to have him. And I walked into a GameStop, about a year ago, and there he was, and so he followed me home.
I'm looking because
Nice.
so
That's the figure.
that's hilarious. But you see what I'm talking about though? Like how they're moving? You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, because like I said, that O-ring is dry rotted. But
Oh, dude, they started I mean, even then, like, the limbs and stuff, like, even, like, I noticed even when like, when we used playing with my friends back in the day, that
mhm,
the yeah, that it was quick for that rubber to break in the middle or for, like, for the limbs to get really loose.
yeah. You know how
Yeah.
we ended up fixing it? We ended up fixing it by using hair ties, the little hair rubber bands that girls put in their hair.
Yeah,
That's how we used
okay.
to fix it. I don't know if it'll still work. I need to actually probably just redo some of these. Uh, but and it's funny you talk about Storm Shadow. Later on, I ended up buying these Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow's Valor versus Venom.
Oh, gorgeous,
Yeah,
man, I
bought
like
those.
that.
So, but really quick, and then I'm gonna ask you, another toy that you remember from your childhood. Do you remember this from GI Joe?
Oh, yeah, the cards.
Yeah.
Dude, I would still have, like, if if I hadn't probably left them on the floor, I
Uh
would
huh.
probably still have the photos from the boxes of the, large figures that I had because I know I cut them out, and I
Yeah.
had saved them for a while.
But this
Yeah.
one right here,
Oh, well, Sergeant Slaughter.
that is how most kids got Sergeant Slaughter. Of course, you had the few kids that ended up buying Sergeant Slaughter off another kid or finding later on. I think they ended up reissuing him in a store or something like that. I can't remember,
I've
but
still got the original matter of fact, when they issued, like, because the Emperor was a mail-in figure,
hmm
and I've still got that figure somewhere, probably in a storage container, and, still he I've opened him up because the box is still open, but yeah, he is still in the original box.
yeah, yeah, that's crazy. And you would think that it's so funny that the Emperor. Why would they like do a mail in? You would think they would make more money off of the Emperor.
Well, probably at the time, he was, everybody was kinda going for the more actiony figures. So then
That's
you
true.
get the dude who, is kinda just he doesn't have much articulation. So
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, please continue. Let me know what's the next thing, the next really powerful memory or next toy that you have that has a powerful memory to it. You know?
oh, man, it was like there was tons of them, but, like, just going back to, like, well, staying in the current Star Wars era, there was talking about, like, right before I went in the military,
Oh
these were
wow.
going on sale for, like, $1,
Oh
and
wow.
so I picked up him, and
And this is
I
one of the
had Han
Kenner.
Solo and Carbonite, and, yeah, the Power of the Force figures, which
Mm-hmm.
they basically came out, like, when Star Wars, when there were no more Star Wars movies, and they started coming out with they were trying to keep the toy line going, which was where they were making a lot of money off of it anyway. They tried to reinvigorate the Star Wars toy sales
Mm-hmm.
by coming out with the Power of the Force line in 1985. And around about that time, as a matter of fact, shortly around about 19, they didn't sell quite as well, so it didn't quite have the effect that they wanted them to. But with Star Wars nostalgia coming back, and with them announcing the new move, the prequels, around about Hasbro basically, well, Kenner, which owned, the license to those toys. And there is a good story behind even the the story behind those figures and how they got the licenses and how Kenner actually made them is also an interesting story that I would recommend anybody go on, to look at,
Netflix.
yeah, and the toys that made us in order to to see the story behind that. But yeah, around about 1991, Kenner got absorbed into Hasbro, and they started with a new Power of the Force figures that went from like 1995 to 2000. And I actually still have, like, when they did the new figures, and yeah, and when they started the new figures in 95, I started collecting those. But I was too old to actually get to the point where I really wanted to, I was too old to be walking, to be bashing them against each other and creating stories by that time. But I did love like I said, I've always been in love with the details and design of the figures, even though, so when they started releasing them and I actually had a job back then, so I could buy my own figures and started actually collecting those. So I still have a ton of those still in the boxes. But
Wow.
it wasn't, I didn't keep them in the boxes mainly just because to really what, thinking about the collectability of them and them, going up in value because you can actually still get those because because they mass produce so many of them, and you can actually still pick up those figures for fairly decent rates now.
Yeah.
But I mean, and they still are really good looking figures. So I, highly recommend them. Even, proportions are a little bit off, but they're just nice looking figures. But basically, I like the packaging. Matter of fact, there's a few of the figures that I have that I didn't take out of the packages recently, like they came out with the 40th anniversary Black Series figures, which are on like reproductions of the Kenner, basically the new figures, but in the Kenner old style boxing. And I haven't taken those out of the boxes just because I like how the cards look and
Oh,
the
okay.
figures that they're on.
So, you talking about the power of the force, that just reminded me of a TikTok I saw. I want to say it was today I saw it. It might have been yesterday, but I think it was today. And I'm gonna send you the link to it. I know that you don't have social media that way, but I think you can still watch the videos. I think so. You should be able to see. You should be able to click on the link and watch the video from a browser, I believe. But this dude and I guess his girlfriend, wife, whatever, they found this toy store and it had a whole wall of Star Wars stuff like back in the 80s that they used to have. And it was amazing. It was so amazing. And just the different things that they had. And then they also had like the Lego stuff. They had a Marvel section and all that. They didn't have a DC section. I think that maybe that this dude just didn't like DC or something. It's so funny to people who hate DC. It's
I
like,
don't get
really?
it.
You know?
I do not get it.
I don't understand, you know?
Yeah.
I like Marvel. I love the Marvel movies, and I might, as you can tell, DC is my favorite. I mean, how can you guess? But but I still like Marvel, and I still give them their due because without Marvel, DC can't up their game either.
They
And
needed that
and
competition and they needed,
Yes,
to have,
you need somebody, and
yeah.
then Marvel and DC were so big that they were pissing other people off. So all these other comic book creators was like, "Well, look, I'm leaving. I'm not going to work for either of you. I'm going to make my own stuff." We get Spawn, you
Yeah.
know.
And
We
all
get so
the
many others.
image characters and
Yeah,
Wetworks
we
and
get
man,
Invincible,
Savage
and
Dragon,
so many other
Nighthawk,
ones,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Toxic Crusader was he on?
I think he was, I don't think he was Image, but I forget the name of the company he was actually with.
Yeah, it's funny. The reason why I asked about Toxic Crusader is because on Roku, whenever I pull it up, is the this shows is on right now, so you can actually watch the live action of it. That's why.
Yeah,
But anyway,
they just did a remake, recently. Matter of fact, I think Peter Dinklage actually plays the Toxic Crusader in that
are
one.
you serious?
Yeah,
I thought the Toxic Crusader was tall though. Is he originally like not?
sure.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
haven't
crazy.
seen it, but I do remember they recently, talk of, a new one. But I think it
Yeah.
came out, I'm pretty sure, but I have to check. I might be I'm pretty sure Peter Dinklage is in it. I'm not sure if he actually plays the Toxic Crusader, but he's definitely in
Getting back, we just went on a little tangent here, but getting back,
it.
yeah, that's funny because, like I said, there's that wall of Star Wars toys and whatever, and the Power of Force figures was there. So that figure, even though you've had it for how many years now? You said right
The
before you went into the military, right before you left.
Yeah, this one I think I picked up. Matter of fact, I probably picked him up around somewhere between 89 and 90.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's been that many years, 30 something years. Well, no, I think that's close to 40. Yeah, 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 30 something. It's 30 something.
'Cause I know I
Um,
only paid $1 for him and the Han Solo, which, and speaking of, once again,
mhm.
the Han Solo in the Carbonite was probably, as far as like the value goes, is probably worth more than that one. But that was the one that I just had to take out and play with. And I
Yeah.
think I've actually still got the figure, but the Carbonite piece I think is gone.
Oh, okay. Oh. I'm trying to remember because I believe I remember seeing that. I do remember that Boba Fett's ship came with a Han Solo and carbonite, but I can't remember if it had one similar to that one where you can actually take Han Solo out of the carbonite, or
And
was it the freezing chamber? That's the one. Han
yeah,
Solo goes down into the chamber. That playset. He goes into the chamber, and then the carbonite one comes out. So, but I remember there was one where it was also it might have been the Power of the Force figure that I remember too,
I
where
actually
you can actually take him out of the carbonite.
I actually do have a large Han Solo figure with the carbonate that I think that was part of, a Hasbro line that came out, or a Hasbro Kenner line that came out, back in the '90s. But it's yeah, he's a large 12-inch figure with, and it looks pretty good,
Yeah.
what it is.
So question for you. Do all of this, have you kept any playsets or any vehicles?
Um, Not really, just because I think back in the day, I just really oh, god, I did have I mean, I don't get me wrong, I've got vehicles
Mm-hmm.
running now. Matter of fact, 'cause matter of fact, there's the Power of the Force, Star War X-Wing
Uh-huh.
is up over top of the shelf right now. I don't wanna pull him down 'cause I'll
Yeah.
knock over,
No, that's
I'll knock
fine. That's
over a
fine.
ton of Black Series figures if I do. But,
Yeah.
yeah, but I recently, though, I was I found out that you can actually, like, there's a whole community of people, like, that are and things people where people are actually, like, buying parts and actually, basically doing recovery for some of the, figures from back in the day, and I had the original Kenner X-Wing figure probably up until about 15 years ago when I finally tossed it, and that probably was a mistake because I probably actually could have just found the parts and actually,
You replaced it.
yeah,
Y-
they because it wasn't in super bad condition, but I was like, I just wasn't thinking about it at the time and tossed
And
it.
I know I could do that because I have some vehicles here I'm about to pull out. And I'm gonna continue with GI Joe, but then I'm gonna go off to something else that I have that I wanted to show you too. But the reason why I asked is because like GI Joe, they had many vehicles. So like I said, Stalker's boat, one called Tracker. I got Tracker's boat. It ended up being like they had the cool stuff. You just blow it up and it was a blow up raft. Then they had these cool little like backpack vehicles, right? You can actually the GI Joes, you can put it on their back.
I remember those.
And yeah, and they actually had action to where you pull it back and it rolls, you know. This and then you can put your GI Joe on top of this one and it becomes a sled. So when you pull it back, the GI Joe sits on it and it becomes a sled. They fly forward. This one, the GI Joe, the Cobra. Sorry, both of these are Cobra. Then I have the GI Joe one. They have a radar for GI Joe. This one, you just wind this up, flip the switch, and it doesn't work anymore. uh, Let's see if it works. There we go. So wind it up. There we go. Flip the switch and the radar goes.
Oh,
So,
man,
and then
and it's
if you can
amazing that
actually
that's
look,
still working like it is.
yeah,
Oh,
right,
man,
right,
that's neat.
mechanics, yes. So I still have that. Unfortunately, the backpack piece broke off. So and that was one of the things that was a hassle with GI Joe, right? But going to a bigger vehicle, can you guess what this goes to? I don't know how much you know about GI Joe figures, but can you guess what that goes to?
Was it the swamp, um, or was it swamp? Did it go to the swamp vehicle, or was it, man? Because I remember they had,
You were so close.
hover.
This was my brother's. This was my brother's toy. This actually goes to um, Zanzibar's air skiff. And some of this is missing. This is one of those things where I say I could probably, look and find the parts for it and get it. So this was my brother's. I believe he bought this with his own money. It was one of the final things that he bought before he got too old to be playing with toys. But I loved this thing. I thought this thing was so cool, and he was so stingy with it for the longest time. And then, like, just one day, he just like broke, and he was just like, "You know what? You can play with it. It's cool." I'm like, "What? Really?" I was astounded when he finally let me play with it, and I guess that's when he realized he was getting too old. But it's crazy seeing this, and then just all these other things. There was different things that belonged to my brother. Then I have a lot of stuff that ended up being mine. This was another thing ended up being my brother's. Well, sorry, ended up being mine, but it was my brother's. It, the backpack piece fell out again. Another the piece. Usually your GI Joe could hook up right there where my thumb is at, but that piece broke off. A lot of these pieces broke off, but I think it was mainly just because they were in these boxes and things. You know, then I have a Battle Force 2000 ship in here. That thing is still going. Turn this off. I have the Battle Force 2000 thing in here, and it's like a hovercraft that I don't know if you remember Battle Force 2000. That was a little bit when you were like older, but
Yeah,
Battle Force 2000 they had two vehicles in one.
I remember the commercials.
Yeah. So I got the parts in here too. Still, some of this is still broken though, as you can see, like right here. But this is the hovercraft. I thought this was the best one. I don't know. Other people might disagree. This was the best one, but it came with this sled that's underneath here, and I gotta see if I can pull the sled out. Here we go. So
I
it
always
came
thought
with
that was
this.
cool, and it kinda reminded me
I
of that they
loved it.
used something similar to that in,
Yeah.
the
So this
movie.
sled, it dropped underneath, and then it could just be so your hovercraft can actually roll on the ground and be like a hovercraft. But you got the two GI Joes that sit right here, and then when the sled, I don't have the screen on the sled right now. When the sled was on it, you hit this little switch right here, and the sled will drop down. You know, the more years went on, as years went on, there you go. As years went on, the toys got better, so much better, you know. And one of the last GI Joe toys, and I'm gonna move on after this. One of the last GI Joe toys I bought is not in great condition, but it, it was this snowmobile, right? And again, I can put this together, whatever. I got all these GI Joe stuff in here, but this part right here, it has these rockets. They sit on top of here, and again, like I said, it's broken. Excuse me, everyone. They sit right here, and these rockets will come in. You can actually put the rockets inside, and they will actually fire. And I'm not going to. Yeah, okay, that's how it is. So I run it back right here, and it's the two in the middle that fire. Those the ones on the side. So I can actually go right here, and I'm gonna see if it works. Please work. No, it's not. Okay. Oh, I gotta push it the other way. Let's try it. Let's
Okay.
see. There you go. So you know, and like I said, that's one of the very, very last things that I bought as an adult. So that's why I say it stuck with me because as an adult, as a kid going into like adulthood, but not really. Like I was, you know, I said adulthood. I think when I bought that, I was like maybe 12 or 13. Whenever it came out, it came out. I believe I was a teenager already, and I didn't get much play out of that. It really got more destroyed because of shuffling it around to the houses and stuff, put it in a box and stuff. I played with it when it came out because even though I think whenever it came out, I got to look and see. I got it and I bought it with my money, and it was either the same year or the year after it came out. I bought it and I played with it probably for that year, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, it's time to go now. I can't continue to play with it." And I don't know, I don't know why I felt that way. I mean, I guess because you know the whole stigma and all that. You know, you got to put away childish things. I don't know,
Hey.
but either way, I
Do
still
we
kept it
do we
though.
really have to?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so
I mean,
but
we're adults. We can make our own decisions now.
yeah, exactly. You know, that's the good thing about being an adult. You can actually do childish things.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to bring up this though. You know what this is?
Uh,
All right.
it looks like a backpack, but
It's a bag. Do you know what this is?
ew, but it
So this is one
looks
of the
like a
toys that
gummy
I
bear.
talked about that I combined with other toys. This is uh, a saddlebag for 3030. Marshall Bravestar's horse that converted into a biped from a quadruped.
Neat.
And the saddlebag would go on 3030, and that is curium, the currency of the show. Basically every figure that you bought that was a Brave Star figure, you got some kind of curium nuggets with it. So I believe I don't remember if I bought if well no I know my mother bought it for me, but I can't remember if she got me the horse and Brave Star packaged together or if she bought them separately. I don't remember, but I do remember I had one of each. But I lost the horse. I lost Brave Star. I don't remember what we got rid of. I don't know if I gave it to a little kid or if it was one of those things where my dad threw it away. I don't remember, but I do remember I kept this, you know, because I used it for GI Joes. As you can see in this bucket right here, most of these are GI Joes because that was what I was a fan of. I was a huge fan of GI Joes. However, in this GI Joe series thing, I actually have other different genres too with it. So
I don't say were you one of those kids who wanted the I think because it seemed like everybody wanted the ultimate GI Joe Grail, which was the aircraft carrier,
who didn't want the
but
aircraft carrier? I think we
nobody
talked
had
about
the
that.
room to
We might
actually
have
put
talked
it
about
on.
it on Toying with Nostalgia. I remember
Yeah, I
talking
think
about
we
that
did.
before.
Yeah,
Well, see, the thing about it with Toying with Nostalgia, I don't remember you being on that show. I got to look
Ye
and see.
I
I
think
know,
we discussed it offline or
yeah,
something.
and I
Yeah,
think that's what it was. We discussed it offline, but on that show, I think it was just me and Black talking about it. Um, because I remember, we talked about. I think he had a Night Raven too, which was dope. That was another coveted toy once those Night Ravens came out. So, or no, I think he said he had. It wasn't Battle Force. It was the other one, the Sky Force or something like that. The one where they were like silver or whatever. So,
didn't the
but
bad guys get an SR-71?
yeah, I know, right? They get the best stuff, don't they? But some of the GI Joe stuff ended up being good in the end. So, um, but was there any other figures that you had, or anything else? Like any small
Oh,
vehicles, big vehicles?
I could be as far as figures go, I could do the figure thing all day long, and we would be here for we'd be here until morning.
Yeah, right.
But as far as like I said, the upgrades lately, like the Star Wars Black Series, this was the most recent one, which had an issue with him where it was a couple of issues with him because the little wires hanging out of the back are easy to pop, so I've been trying to be really careful with those. And the helmet didn't really sit on his head that well because of there was a little block inside it that I had to pull out, but
Uh huh.
looks pretty good. Matter of fact, this was him from Book of Boba Fett. This was matter of fact, this one I ended up getting a second one of, and I left him in the box because I've already got him outside of the box. The one that but he's up there posed with other characters and whatnot. And I
Hmm.
just picked him up because I picked up another one because I found him pretty cheap. But yeah, and I did like this uniform in the box he came in. So,
Yeah.
but
So,
yeah,
so those are all new figures then.
yes, yeah,
Okay, yeah, but like you said, you do have a plethora of figures that you've had for years.
yeah. From the McFarlane stuff to the like I said, the box of the power of the boxes of the power of the force figures or whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. I think definitely if you can send me some pictures of that because I want to share that on our social media. Just different stuff. You don't have to worry about it too much right now, but I want to share that on our social media, all the different figures. So
Matter of fact, speaking of
I'm gonna
grails, like
I'm gonna tell y'all the crow. Okay, I just remember seeing that. I've seen that one at your house before. Um, for yeah, I'm gonna show some of Chris's figures and stuff like that on our social media. So just listen out at the end of the show if you want to check it out. I might go ahead and take some pictures. I don't know. A lot of my stuff, like I said, is in pieces because just over the years, different things. As you can see, the bucket I just put. I have it in is in pieces because different times things crash down, different places, whatever you're moving around and stuff like that. So I have a couple more things I want to show. Then we're gonna get ready to start wrapping it up here. But do you remember these? Now these were given to me by a friend, and I cannot remember what. Sorry, who? Which friend gave these to me?
wow, micro machines.
Yep, I do not remember which friend gave these to me. It was a kid,
They
and I
look
remember
so
it was younger
good.
than me. They were cool, yeah, but I took them. I wasn't into micro machines, but I took them, and I didn't like really play with them because by the time I played with cars, I was old. You
Oh,
know.
dude, it's like lately, like I said, been like just and a lot of it's nostalgia, but like I said, lately I've been playing a lot of like because I was real into Hot Wheels and stuff coming up too. And lately I've been playing like the Hot Wheels Unleashed 1 and 2 games, and oh my goodness, you're talking about it's being able to do all the stuff, and they have a micro machine one that actually I was looking at it looked pretty decent too. But it looked almost like it was the micro machine one. Probably the only reason I didn't get it was because it looked so much like the Hot Wheels ones, which, struggle to get time to play those. But yeah, I've been playing the Hot Wheels Unleashed games a lot lately, and oh god, they're so fun because it's the fantasy of what you wanted to do with those toys back in the day anyway, and you've got these elaborate sets that you can put them on with other cars, and they even get stained with fingerprints and get scratches and stuff, as you continue to play with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean some of those it's crazy. So a lot of these cars that are behind me right here, these Hot Wheels, I don't want to take out the box because of how much like with the fingerprints and stuff on them and all that. But um
Well, you know, I've still
so
got my Batman Hot Wheels vehicle still in
yeah,
still in the
yeah.
package.
So
I like to
so
display those.
I
Oh, that's what those
think
are.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I think you and I bought this one the same time at lunch. That's the 66 Batmobile. If it's not, I can't remember which one it was. I think it is the 66 Batmobile. If it wasn't the 66, then it was the Batman Animated Series, which is right here. One of these two, you and I bought the same time at the hobby store that was over in Denby. We went at lunch to go pick them up. But real quick, like I said, I'm gonna run through a couple different things real quick, and then I'm gonna show you the ultimate toy that I have. So this is what's left over after. What do you think this belongs to?
Oh, wait a minute. Don't the Hot Wheels go in that you pull them back and it's not? Okay, because it looked like one of those things that you actually used to be able to put the cars in and then
I give
pull
you
them
one hint.
back
It's,
and
it's
stuff.
on brand for the night for most of my toys.
It's G.I. Joe related? Or
Yeah,
is it or is it Batman related?
it's GI Joe.
Ugh. You got me on that one.
So this is a ramp. This is one of the cool things about the GI Joe headquarters that my brother and I bought from my friend Andy. My friend Andy was he was like I call him my first friend that I can remember. Some people say your sibling's your first friend. I say Andy was my first friend that I can remember other than my siblings. But Andy, I've known him since kindergarten. And I want to say it was maybe fifth grade. It might have been after, it might have been before. But he told us that he was selling all his GI Joes because he wanted to buy something else, and his dad made him get rid of all his GI Joes to do it. Well, he sold it to my brother and I, and he sold us the GI Joe headquarters. This is all that's left. The only reason why I still have this is because when I was still playing with my toys, my GI Joe toys, I would actually still use this. And remember, I said I would do cardboard boxes and stuff like that. I actually use this in the cardboard boxes for different things. Because actually up until I don't remember when I actually had the GI Joe Jeep that went in here too. I had the All Striker. My brother had the All Striker. I think I had the other Jeep, the other one. I can't remember what the other one is called. But that's that, right? Then I have this, and this is on brand. Well, let's see if you can recognize this. Can you don't
I
recognize
was
it?
gonna say I can barely see it, but yeah, it's
Let's see if I can give you like here. I'm gonna do it this way. How about that? How's that? Does that help out?
uh is that a cape or a whole looks because it looks like it's got camouflage on it.
It's a camouflage poncho.
Okay.
So that is Leia's camouflage poncho.
From oh man, from
Endor.
Jedi.
Yes. Yep. And the reason why I still have that, because my brother had Leia, I think his friend's dog ate the foot or something like that. And Leia ended up getting jacked up.
Oh
So
no.
he tossed Leia out, but he kept the poncho because it fit on
Fit
GI
on G.I.
Joes.
Joes.
Yep. So going along with that, fitting on GI Joes.
Oh.
This is a cape. This is Superman's cape. My Superman's cape from the Superpowers collection. And I kept it because it fit on GI Joes. So it's crazy having this still. That the fact that I actually kept this and like seeing it, it's so many different things that I use it. Not just GI Joes. I use it on other stuff. Um, there was a McDonald's toy. I think it was McDonald's. They came out with Muppet Babies. Matter of fact, I have Kermit's skateboard right here. But yeah, this makes for good TV, doesn't it? All right, I was trying not to throw everything about, but I've got Kermit's skateboard left over from Muppet Babies. But my brother and I used it for our GI Joes, and I turned it into a hoverboard.
Neat.
So, it's crazy having all of these and reusing them as different things. And oh yeah, this is that Skyrider thing I was talking about. This is one of the figures. So they had these backpacks that you put on them, and they would like hook into the backpacks like around their waist. And they actually had this cable here. I got the cable left over because I used to use that for my GI Joes too. They had this cable where their toys could actually ride out. And some of them were mechanical, so the mechanical will just go across. And so if you saw the commercials for them, some of these kids, like I don't know any kid that ever owned that many, but kids would have like 6 of these cables going all across their room, and the Skyriders things will just go all across whatever. And so that one you would have to, the one I got, it wasn't mechanical, it was just like, by gravity. So you put it inside, I mean on top of the cable, and it had like this little groove in there, and it just slid down on the cable. So that was kind of cool.
Nice.
So second to last thing I have to show is this guy. Came with my VHS. You see it? You know who that is?
I can barely make him out.
That is from the Indian in the Cupboard.
Wow.
Yeah. This came with the VHS. I kept this because my mother bought me that DVD. Or no, not DVD. Wow. My mother bought me VHSs. And that was one thing my mother bought. And I never play with this dude. This dude just remained in the box as long as I have. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take it out and show it to Tanya. Yeah, I'll leave it out and show it to Tanya later.
That's gorgeous.
But now this is more than just like a toy, because I never play with this, but this is more than a toy to me because it just reminds me of all the DVDs that my mother. I keep saying DVDs. All the VHS tapes that my mother bought me, Disney related. My mother bought me so many Disney VHS tapes, and she bought all of us different. Well, I don't know if it was like my both of my siblings, but I know she bought my sisters and her kids Disney VHSs. My brother was moving around so much that I don't think he got a lot of those VHS, but I know she had to buy him a couple. I know she had to, because that's what she did for her kids. But that one specifically, I didn't even want that movie. I wasn't into that movie. She bought it anyway, and I watched the hell out of that movie. I watched that movie so
they
much.
always know us better than we think they do.
That's one thing my mom did very well is she figured out, she even if you don't think that you needed it or you wanted it, she did it anyway. And a lot of times it worked out, because a lot of times, most of the time, it worked out that where it was just perfect, just right. I still have this one thing, this thing of screws that my mother bought me. Different type of screws, different type of things for like wall anchors and stuff. She bought it for me. I can't remember if I lived alone or not yet when she bought it for me. But she bought it, and I looked at this thing, and she gave it to me as a gift. I don't remember if it was for Christmas, for my birthday, whatever. But she gave it to me as a gift. And I'm like, what kind of gift is this? Do you know I still have that thing, and I still use it to this day. I still have not run out of any of the things that were in it, but I use it. And I'm just like, how the hell did she know? How did she know? She bought it,
Yeah.
and I use it so much.
Yeah, the parents, when you think about the things that they and the sacrifices they made to put smiles on our faces, it's wonderful. And
So much.
we've definitely spent, tried to pass that on to our own kids. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
that's one of the great things about
Yeah,
that.
I would love to hear what my daughter thinks about some of the different toys that she had, that she had fun with, and I think one of her key things that she had that she will always remember, two things. One was her kitchen set. The second one was her door tent. I think it was her fourth birthday. I bought her a door tent, and I think it's huge. It filled her whole room up. Anytime we put it up in her room, we had to basically. She had a bunk bed, but it was like a day bed bunk bed. We had to make sure we pushed it up so it'd be in like the day bed style. and we had to take everything out of her floor and to blow it up for her to put it in, not blow it up, but just pop it out and put it in her room with those wires and stuff like that. Put it in her room. And, sometimes we put the door in it, sometimes we didn't. But, that tent, I went the day of her birthday and drove all the way to Virginia Beach to get it for her because I saw it. I wanted her to have something really memorable because of the memories that I had that was attached to toys. Now, people go in and say, don't be materialistic here, this, whatever, whatever. But toys are part of children's childhood, and not having a memorable toy is I don't know. To me, I think that's kind of sad, and uh, just being a child and playing is so something so special about that. Watching a child play. I love watching my nephews come over and play with their toys. I got them some cool stuff for Christmas. I got to give it to them. But the reason why I'm going into this spiel right here is because we all have that one memorable toy, and there's one that actually sticks with us. If you don't have any more anything else to share, do you? By the way.
Nah, because like I said, if I do, we're gonna be here for a lot longer.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody, I'm going to
Because
go
there's a
ahead. Like I
story
said, I'm going to get
behind
some pictures
everything
from
he
Chris, so he can actually showcase some of his, and I'm going to go ahead and definitely put it on our TikTok. Probably go ahead and also put it on our Instagram too. So I'll read those out at the end of the show. But uh, you know, going back into what I was saying, our toys, they're so special, right? And the toy that's been so special to me the most, I've mentioned it and I talked about it, and I did talk about this on a show that all three of us were on. I don't remember what show it was. I think it was talking about like most memorable Christmas, or it was something else. It was probably our off the cuff episode, I believe. Um, but this right here, and I basically had to sign out my own toy. I'm exaggerating here, but for the most part, like if there was anything that ever happened to this toy, I don't think she would ever forgive me. But this is Tough Guy. This is
Oh, that's
my
cute.
favorite toy of all. This is my teddy bear. This was one thing I do remember. Um, Surprisingly, got this from my dad. And I don't remember the whole everything about it. I think one time when I came in from school, it was on my bed, and he brought it for me. I don't remember exactly how I got it because it's fuzzy. Because I feel like he handed it to me, but I feel like he didn't hand it to me. But like I said, it might have been on my bed. I don't remember. I got to see if one of my siblings remember how I got it. But um, this dude has been with me so much, and talking about emotional support. This was my emotional support before they actually had emotional support stuff. Actually, at one point, one of his eyes fell off. I had to glue it back on. I did it all myself. I used to take when my sister got rid of and messed up all her Cabbage Patch kids. Some of the ones that looked cool on him, I would throw some of her Cabbage Patch kids clothes on him. um, and again, like when we had those pageants in school, elementary school, I actually kept him. They was just like, you can bring one thing with you. Tough Guy always came with me. He kept me from being nervous. um uh the times where I was afraid, I was a night, and I couldn't jump on my parents' bed, I was tied up on my covers. Tough Guy was right with me right here. um, and there's so many different memories that I have of Tough Guy that uh he was so well loved. I could not in good conscience keep this. So I had to, when my daughter came, I had to give it to her. Now I still check up on him every once in a while. And as you can see, he's got some of her dog's hair on him. So
I had this once. I had a similar situation when I was a kid, and mine was named Flack, and it was a
uh-huh.
little brown puppy that
Uh
was about yay big. But yeah, I kept that thing until he started falling apart.
Man, I'm stoked that Tough Guy never got ruined and torn apart, because there was other teddy bears and stuff that I had that ended up getting jacked up, and one of them was, I think it used to be my sister's bear, and it ended up getting kind of jacked up and whatever. So unfortunately, I shouldn't have did this. I did, but some of my stuffed animals I left at my mother's house when she moved, and I just left them in the attic. So I really wish I had just been able to donate them. I didn't even think about it, but I wasn't trying to go up in the attic when we moved. But anyway, um, but this guy, I had to make sure I bring him, and I had to make sure my daughter got him, and she also got my blanket that reminded me of him. Um, but that is Tough Guy, and I can't let him go anywhere else because she read me the riot act if I try to keep him. It's like she'll probably be in here as soon as I turn it off to make sure it goes back in her room.
Mhm.
Um, you see, I keep looking over my shoulder because I'm like, is she hear me talking
Just make
about
sure she ain't coming up on you.
it? Yeah, exactly. But again, this is one thing that is really special to me, talking about the different toys that I had, and the different times and different things like that here and there, because these toys are really truly special. Um, they have so many different good memories. They got different stories. Some of these toys helped with your imagination. They brought different things out of you, so you could actually just expand. You can actually create stories yourself, so you could do certain things. If filmmakers come up with stories from things that they did as kids.
Yeah, when Star Wars was falling off in popularity, I was still having Star Wars adventures 'cause
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. And the same for me with obviously same for me with GI Joe. I made my own GI Joe stories many times that my carpet was an ocean that they had to cross. You know, so it's so crazy, but just it's so like heartwarming when you go back and you think about it and just think about all the different stuff you did compared to now as an adult. And I kind of wanted to go into more of our current collections, but you know what? I'm gonna put a pin in that because there's a collector I want to talk to on TikTok, and I want to see if I can get him on. If I can't get him on, I at least want to interview him. So I'm gonna put a pin in that, and we're gonna see if we can actually have another show of Unboxed Memories. But it may not be called Unboxed Memories. It may be just something different. So this is gonna be another Toying with Nostalgia sequel, though. And you know, I want to see if new toys and new collections have the same effect and the same feel. For me, there's more to it than just the toys aspect of it now and the collections. That Batmobile right there, the Batman animated series, and the Batwing that's beside it. I don't think you can see it in the camera. I'm not the determined camera, but the not that Batwing is another Batwing I got on the wall right there, the huge one. That one, that has its own significance to me because I love that series. You know. So, before we sign off, Chris, you got anything you want to add?
I've just, like I said, I always enjoy, especially, nerding out over, the I guess the toys that made us.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. This is a version of that. The toys that made us. So,
Hadn't even thought about
well,
that correlation, but yeah.
yeah, for the most part, exactly. I mean, and it's so funny that show. If everyone, if y'all haven't seen that show on Netflix, watch it. It's really good. Especially if you grew up in the '80s. If you grew up in the '80s, even if you haven't grown up in the '80s, though, you actually can see where today's toys come from because of some of these toys in the past. You know, that's how I learned a lot about the GoBots, and I learned that GoBots was actually made before Transformers. So so many people were talking junk about the GoBots. GoBots were first. Anyway, um, you know, either way, check that out. Everyone who showed up today, thank you so much for showing up. We're gonna try and do more video episodes, like I said, but we're starting off right now. It's just me and Chris. Black actually did say that he's going to, he's got everything in his works. So Chris and I are gonna do the video episodes the most right now. You may see another guest join us. You may not. You may see Black pop up at once, but until he can get all his equipment and everything straight, is me and Chris doing video. Strictly audio is going to be us with Black, and then maybe other guests. So that's cool. But we're going to
And
keep this content flowing.
yeah,
Um,
I would definitely miss his feedback as far as like, 'cause
mhm.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's a good thing that definitely still he's still on the show. Everybody, don't
Yeah.
don't freak
Oh, he
out.
ain't
He's
gone
still
nowhere.
here.
I didn't mean it like
yeah,
he was in the past.
yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So, but yeah, if you got any questions, email us at told my wife podcast at gmail.com. So you can email us questions that you can actually tell us some of the stuff that you like, some of your toys, whatever. You can actually follow us on Instagram at Told My Wife Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook. I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. You can actually subscribe to our YouTube page. I got to look at this one at I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills podcast. Um, you can actually find me on TikTok at Slim Taurus 78. You can actually find our podcast page on TikTok at Told My Wife Podcast. And hit us up, check us out. Like I said, I'm gonna try to get some pictures from Chris. I'm gonna post those pictures on our social media. I'm gonna post some of my pictures on social media. I don't know how many of these broken GI Joe stuff I'll do, but I'll do some of these. I'm gonna leave them out for a couple of days and put it together, take pictures and all that. So, post it up. Please check us out. Come back. Like I said, we're gonna have those videos for you. We're gonna have a lot more video, and we're gonna try to make this more of a video podcast than just audio. We're still gonna do the audio thing. There's gonna be times where we can't do video. So, just please continue to follow us for the journey. Like, comment, share. Doing all that, liking, subscribing, and all of that helps us out a whole lot. We can actually get seen so more ears can hear, and they can actually talk about all of our, we can actually go into more stuff of more details. We can actually have more guests. The more popular we are, we'll get more guests. We'll do more things. I'm actually trying to still do some more interviews and things, and do some Comic-Con interviews and everything like that. Anyway, I'm rambling now. So, uh, until the next episode, which will hopefully be beginning of September, it'll possibly be a Black History episode. I don't know yet. We're gonna work that one out. We're gonna workshop that one and tell y'all. But until the next episode, I'm Slim,
And I'm Chris.
and whether you're binging or button mashing or being nostalgic about old toys, I had to add that one in there. We'll catch you on the next episode, everybody. Thanks. Have a good one.
Peace.